Hello and welcome to the Emagia AI for Finance podcast. This is Brian Chappell, Emagia's Director of Content Strategy. We're here doing this podcast with thought leaders in the order to cash and AI space every 2 weeks to bring you what's happening out there with generative AI and all sorts of other solutions that can help today's professional have a co-pilot, save time, be more efficient, and make faster, bolder decisions. Today, here with JoAnn Malz. She is the new chair of NACM-National, and she has extensive experience in the credit profession. She's going to be talking AI with us today. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate you inviting me.
Okay. I guess let's just start out. If you could give our listeners a little bit of your background, that would be great.
Sure. I've pretty much been in credit collections and O2C pretty much my whole life. Started that way with business credit leasing right out of college. Spent many years with Cargill. Had some shared service center experience with Cargill. And then I had a brief stint with Emerson in their shared services environment. Went to Pentair. So I kind of made that shift from ag to manufacturing with Emerson and Pentair. And I was with Pentair for about 15 years as well. And then since leaving Pentair, I have gained some experience in the dental distribution market and then back into manufacturing. And right now, I am presently in the print industry. So the visual communications market and industry with the Imagine Group out of Twin Cities.
Okay, great. Thanks. So you're starting your stint. You've started your stint as chair of NACM now. For this next year, what are you looking to get across most to the membership of NACM, the credit professionals, the order to cash professionals, and/or what is one topic that is just really front of mind for you going into this year?
I think there's always going to be the need and the drive to, through NACM, to continue to advance our credit profession by providing members resources that they need to help them accomplish their goals. And I think for 2024, we're experiencing the similar workforce dynamic that many companies are. And so we want to make sure that we position ourselves for existing credit professionals, as well as who those future credit professionals will be that are going to be managing the critical credit and collection, cash app deductions, you name it, everything that falls under OTC going forward for decades to come.
Okay. So 2023 seemed to mark a year where artificial intelligence really sort of hit the mainstream in the business world. Generating a lot of conversation in finance, in order to cash spaces, etc. I saw KPMG, Deloitte, Gardner, among many others, NACM's own publications, who talked about research and how many more financial professionals are either at least exploring the concept of AI or fully starting to embrace it in some way or even a major way. What have you seen as far as an increase in interest among order to cash leaders about AI-based solutions for your industry?
Right, and the topics raised quite a bit at different NACM venues. So the topic has come up in weekly polls, asking our members, how AI might impact them, etc. There's been e-news articles. We've had articles in our business credit magazine. And then the topic has also been coming up during several of our different thought leadership discussions that are held on a monthly basis.
Okay. Has there been more talk about people looking to actively implement, AI-based approaches in the next year, where it comes to those things you mentioned, like collections, cash app, credit applications, etc.?
Sure. What I've kind of been hearing in the various things that I've participated in is it feels like companies are in very different stages of exploring and implementing AI. A lot of companies are in the building the policy stage where they're building those guidelines and frameworks from which they might be able to consider and use AI, to make sure that those boundaries are there for safe business, for data privacy, for protecting their customers, protecting intellectual property. Further understanding of AI and its potential and the risks is a really critical first step. And I get the impression that many companies are really thinking about that and taking that into account by first making sure they have a solid policy in place. And on a recent thought leader discussion through NACM, some of the credit professionals on the call made mention of using AI to do things like analyze order trends, handle some of those routine, repetitive tasks that their team might have to do, predicting potential credit limit issues, kind of getting ahead of that and being proactive and anticipating when those might happen. Some other areas too that they're exploring would be the cash forecasting. How can we take customers' payment behaviors and turn them into a predictive tool to better help companies forecast their cash? But again, I think one of the most important things kind of tying back into that policy about how various companies are going to use and implement AI. For our industry, specifically the credit profession, we really need to understand what all those different AI scenarios are, all the different tools that are out there, and how they're going to fit in with all of the regulations and laws that direct and guide our work on a day-to-day basis, particularly around governing credit decisions. So I think that's key, and I would think that a lot of the policies that are being formed will be taking that into account. And like I said, providing those guardrails or boundaries for safe decisions.
Hey, great. Have you yourself or any close colleagues at your business or in your network ever used ChatGPT or any other generative AI program? And if so, what did you or they think about it?
Well, I know that some of my colleagues have used it. I have seen it used, but presently and personally, my company has not yet authorized its use. So I have not incorporated ChatGPT into any of my work processes at this time.
Okay. Have you used it at all on like a personal basis just to see what all the talk was about?
No, I have not. I have not. But I hear
Okay.
lots and lots of, I hear lots and lots of people talking about it and how they use it and they're always thinking too, what's a safe way for me to use it? How should I and how should I not use AI personally or professionally? So I think it's really become a very popular discussion item.
Yes, indeed. It seems to have. Um, so what is a key benefit or key benefits that you see as possible in this, technological advance for, the OTC world?
Well, I think initially AI can be a benefit for departments and credit professionals trying to, once again, streamline those routine and repetitive tasks like maybe sending invoice copy requests. Then, as comfort grows and experience grows, as with anything, they could look at evaluating what specific business decisions might be served through AI versus those that are still going to always require a judgment call. Maybe AI can service the profession in the future by providing a menu of potential decisions and maybe from a range of low to medium high risk so that they have something that they can use when they have to make those judgment calls. Rather than forcing the leader to say, this is the decision we think you should make based on all of our data, and only giving them one option. maybe AI in the future will be able to provide them with more than one option from which they can make a decision. And once again, how do we incorporate in to that AI and those decision menus or decision options, all the various regulations and rules and laws that we deal with here in the US, as well as all of the countries around the world. How is AI going to accommodate that for us?
Okay, excellent. As far as concerns, obviously AI is something that not everybody had a positive outlook on in the order to cash space many years ago. Are there still some lingering concerns that you think serve as a bit of an obstacle for order to cash and financial leaders in adoption or embracing this?
Yeah, I think just being able to better understand how they can protect their companies and their clients through data privacy, and knowing what data is going to be out there for public access and visibility versus that kind of data that they really need to protect for themselves and their clients. And then, like I've said a few times throughout today's podcast too, is how is AI going to incorporate in all the different laws and regulations, that we need to adhere to as we do our day-to-day work.
Okay, so we're starting to, collectively, the royal we, learn a lot more about the areas that AI can help, and the areas where sort of first adopters, early adopters are starting to do so. Um, what area would you most like to see AI evolve into in the future to be able to help those in the order to cash space?
I think the credit professionals could benefit from having a tool that helps provide them with some proactive exceptions, whether it be customers that are approaching their credit limit well in advance of just hitting that limit, predicting how and when, based on their payment behaviors and their order patterns, when they might need to have their credit limit looked at again. Maybe incorporating in all of the different data that we have from multitudes of sources, whether it be public records or news articles, and be able to sort and filter out the real, true data, and being able to kind of present that in a consolidated fashion to us. That would help save a lot of research time. And then, doing those routine tasks where a lot of companies may start first, because that might be where they're comfortable. Like, how can we maybe send invoice copies if that's a big need, where we're constantly being asked to send invoice copies to our customers because maybe they failed or they got misplaced or whatever the various reason may be. Be able to help with some of that, identify that that's what the customer is asking for, and then being able to go find that invoice copy and accurately send it to the proper customer.
Okay, great. So, what are some ways over the next 6 months to 12 months that professionals can get better educated on AI and really start learning how they could potentially reap benefits that you've mentioned from it?
I think just getting out there and doing some self-research and, checking for sure with your internal legal departments and your internal IT teams to see what governance they're going to be putting around the use of AI. But then I think also there's, like NACM, they have so many resources and educational opportunities that talk about this very topic of AI, whether it be through their publications or through their thought leadership groups or through Credit Congress. There's just many educational opportunities out there for them to kind of raise their hand, ask a question. It could be a forum of some sort that's out there that people can go and ask questions and talk to their credit professional peers who may be in various stages of implementing or evaluating AI, and kind of learn from them how what mistakes did they make that would help others not make those mistakes, what worked well for them. What were some tips in creating a policy? So I think there's, lots of places to go. And I would encourage people to check out NACM with their various resources.
And of course, you do have Credit Congress coming up on June 9th to 12th in Las Vegas, correct?
That is correct, and that
And you'll be there.
yes.
You'll be there on the big stage.
Yeah, I will be there, and yeah, there will be plenty and lots of opportunity for different educational events there, and AI will definitely be on that agenda, as well as our vendor expo. There will be many resources available also to answer questions.
Yes, we'll actually be there on the exhibit floor, Emagia, and I know our CEO Vina Gundavelli will be speaking on the exhibit floor as well at one point. So that's exciting stuff. We'll definitely look forward to seeing you out there. I know you're extraordinarily busy, so we very much appreciate you taking time to join the Emagia AI for Finance podcast this episode and take time out to talk to us.
All right. Well, thanks again for inviting me, Brian.